Holmes, for heaven's sake, whatever's going on?
Oh, hello, Watson. You're early. Did you kill all of your patients?
What? Holmes, where have all these wretched bees come from?
I increased the temperature of the room so as to prevent them from hibernating. I needed to take a sample of honey. But it worked, Watson. We will have honey all year round.
Ridiculous and dangerous.
They're domestic bees, Apis mellifera, such industrious workers.
Ich hoffe, das hat nichts mit dem nächsten Fall zu
I
tun.
am sorry, but I must leave you. I'm in rather a hurry.
You have a new case?
Yes, but nothing as thrilling as this experiment. A theft of plants at the Royal Botanic Gardens in Kew. I'm helping a minister who's an old friend of mine. You can join me if you like.
Well, I'll admit that I'd far rather accompany you than remain alone here with these workers of yours. Besides, you'll need a helping hand with the flowers you're intending to bring back.
Watson, however did you guess?
Great Sherlock Holmes to bother with the theft of plants. Come on, admit that you're planning to spoil your little bees with some rare pollens.
Since when did I become so transparent? Let us go.
Kew Garden. Kev wie von Kevin. Das kann nur einfach werden. Oh, das scheint diesmal ein langer Weg zu sein.
Well, Holmes, here we are at the Royal Botanic Gardens. There's no doubt that this place is beautiful. But are you really intent on investigating the theft of the plants?
Yes, of course.
Okay, darin bin ich aber nicht so gut, ne? Das muss ich euch mal so
What are we
sagen.
doing, Holmes?
Let us
Yeah.
find someone who could help us.
Don't touch anything else, is that clear? Just go and get a bucket of fertilizer. And without turning it over this time.
Upsi
Good day to you,
pupsi.
gentlemen. How may I help you? If you are here for a visit, please do come back on Sunday.
I am afraid that it cannot wait. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and this is my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson. We are investigating the theft of plants that took place here 5 days ago. A remarkable collection, I believe.
So you're the one in charge, eh?
A small favor for a friend. Now, to whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
I am Martin Hamish. I am the Deputy Director of Kew Gardens. And that fellow yonder is Albert. He works here.
I am delighted to meet you. What can you tell us about the plants?
They were rare and exceptional plants. We presented them at our last exhibition. We haven't removed the stand yet. It is still in the large glass house. We only learned of their disappearance the evening after the exhibition, and nobody saw anything.
No doors were forced?
No, but I would imagine that for a thief it would be fairly easy to gain entry, for there are no guards here.
Well, if you don't mind, we will take a look. Now, you say that it is in the large glass house.
Yes, the one just behind me. Just a second, since Albert has nothing else to do. Albert, show these gentlemen where the exhibition was held.
How many people work here?
Only myself, but occasionally 2 students, Albert, whom you have met, and Miss White.
Miss White. Ich bin Captain Black.
Here it is. This is the place where the stolen plants were exhibited.
Thank you. Is there something the matter?
Yes, there is. All right, the plants were valuable and rare, but it seems to me that the tragedy that took place here only 2 days ago has been entirely forgotten already.
What tragedy are you referring to?
The director of Kew Gardens, Mr. Montague Dunn, he died here just 2 days ago.
We're very
Was?
sorry that we were not aware. The two of you were good friends?
He was my
Oh.
father.
Oh dear. Our condolences. We should not be troubling you. Please do excuse us for the intrusion.
You say that he died here, in the large glass house.
Vielleicht durch eine Pflanze?
Yes, just here, near the door to the colonial collection. He suffered a heart attack, just like that, so suddenly. It was terrible. Excuse me, gentlemen, but I cannot remain here. If you need me, I'll be in the reserve. That's the room next to the front of the large greenhouse.
Of course, we understand.
Ja, natürlich habe ich das verstanden.
The plants were here. All of them were stolen.
Alle, das scheint aber ganz
What
schön
should
viele
we
zu
do
sein.
next?
Ey, lass mich durch. Lass mich durch, warum ich will nicht? Okay, wir haben hier Pflanzen, Pflanzen, Pflanzen.
According to Albert, this is where his father, Montague Dunn, was found dead.
Hä? Fußspuren?
The traces are thinner in some places. These boot marks are fresh. It appears as though someone was dragging their feet. The footprints reveal that someone staggered here. The door was smashed at shoulder height. This door handle is new. It was recently changed.
Aha.
The esconson was breached near the handle.
Keine Einbruchsspuren, na
The door
klar.
was forced from the inside of the Colonial Collection Room. The handle was changed afterwards.
I think we need to inspect the Colonial Collection Room.
Jo.
Very strange. Half of the Colonial Collection is absent. These windows were perfectly cleaned. The smell is strong. It is a detergent.
Oh, Blut. Gott, ist das aufregend.
A fragment of marble, most likely chipped from a statue or sculpture. This broken fragment was the result of a heavy blow. Part of this greenhouse was emptied and thoroughly cleaned. This is one of the outlets of the ventilation system.
Aha. Das lassen wir doch mal auf. Habe ich nicht schon alles hier? Wo ist denn... Von was für einer Statue soll denn das sein? Einer Bürste oder einer Skulptur? Ah, hallo.
According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building. According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building.
Can I help you, gentlemen?
Oha, ja, ja, das kannst du. Wo ist er? Gucken wir uns erstmal das hier an.
A task list for Albert, compiled by Martin Hamish. Sweep out the palm house, scrub the toilets, clean the storage shed tools.
Ja, wunderbar. Dann lass uns mal reden hier. Erst inspizieren, Alter. Ich will wissen, was du da in deinem Kinn hast. Was hat er? Ach so, geweint. Beim Rasieren geschnitten. Na klar. Saubere Hände? Das heißt, du arbeitest gar nicht richtig.
Do you work here?
Yes, but part-time only. I'm also studying botany at the University of London.
You're following in your father's footsteps, then. That is commendable.
Well, even if botany is not my strongest suit, there are people who say that I could be a good manager.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Gott, warum ist das so ein großes Gelände? Ich kann jetzt hier Hinweise suchen, ob mal irgendwo Blut liegt. Aber das macht keinen Sinn. Das ist doof. Das spielt man nicht so. Lass mich dich inspizieren. Alter, das ist eine richtig starke Sonnenbrille hier. Was könnte hier an dieser Hand sein? Dreckig, schmutzig, arbeitet viel? Ja, nein, des Gärtners, jawohl.
Albert told us about the tragic death of Mr. Dunn, the late director of Kew Gardens.
Tragic indeed. His heart attack was quite unexpected.
Und warum
Thank you,
liegt da so
Mr.
viel
H. We shall
Blut?
continue our investigation.
Was? Tab? Achso. White und den anderen hätte ich noch ganz gerne.
Locked.
Oh, locked. Das ist auch locked. Ach, Watson, Junge, du nervst hier. Lass mich los! Sprinte!
Locked. Locked. Nursery.
Locked. Türfarbe war schon anders. Ah, okay, endlich. Jetzt bin ich hier bei der Seite. Okay, auch noch ein paar Pollen hier für mich jetzt mitnehmen. Oh, das gefällt mir gar nicht, dass das so groß ist.
Colonial Collection. Water Lily Greenhouse. Dry Tropics. Seed House. Ventilation System. Nursery. Director's Office, Cloakroom and Laboratory. Farmhouse. Reserve. A map of Kew Gardens. Nursery. Locked. Seed House.
Eigentlich will ich ins Belüftungssystem. Aber man muss ja mal schauen, ne?
There is a smell of burning.
Aha. Schnell, rettet die Beweise.
The symbol is not from Kew Gardens. A door handle? Why would anyone throw such a thing in the fire? The door handle to the Colonial Collection and that of the fireplace are made of the same material.
Oh, habe ich da zufällig den
The
Schlüssel?
plants were set alight fairly recently. Some have not completely burned. A protective mask. Someone set it alight. but it did not burn. The remains of a picture frame. A broom handle was half burned.
Na, wie komm ich hier raus? Was für einen Gegenstand könnte man also an so einer Karte verwenden?
A ventilation system. It should regulate the temperature of the staff buildings. A ventilation system. A water tank. Seed house. Locked.
Warum rennt da was?
Would you unlock the doors for us?
Do you expect to find the stolen plants there? I am sorry, but those rooms are private.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
Excuse me, but I have to tidy up this room.
Farmhouse.
Ich brauche irgendwas mit Bürste und Dingens, ne?
Water lily greenhouse. According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building. Blood. Soil. It should have come from a flower pot. Soil. The soil on the side of this flower shelf is the same as that on the ground. Fragments of a flower pot. It fell down here. This pot was broken fairly recently. A flower pot recently fell down from these shelves and was misplaced. This sign is broken. Something heavy was dropped upon it.
Eine Vase
Someone
zufällig?
fell violently against this sign, and they were injured in the clash. Most likely a head wound. All the clues around here are quite suspicious. I need my imagination to make sense of it all. No, it wasn't like that. No, it wasn't like that. wasn't like that.
Ach, Mann.
No, it wasn't like that.
Das ist gut, ne?
This reconstruction reveals a disturbing fact. Montague Dunn damaged the door of the Colonial Collection Room.
He was in a panic, or the door was locked. Was it an accident, or a murder then, I wonder?
Autopsie durchführen. Führen Sie eine Autopsie an Montague Dunns Leiche durch. Sein Tod ist verdächtig. Warum stieß er die Tür des Kolonialhauses gewaltsam auf? Warum wurde das Kolonialhaus zum Teil geräumt und gereinigt? War es eine Falle oder ein tragischer Unfall? Autopsie durchführen.
I asked Inspector Lestrade to take Montague Dunn's body to Scotland Yard.
It's ready for autopsy then.
Autopsie. Oh, warte, was liegt denn hier? Das sind die Sachen, die bei ihm waren.
This watch is of great value. A membership card for the London Crest Club.
Da werden wir doch mal hingehen.
A beautiful feather pen of a good make.
An Mr. F. Wayne. Bruce Wayne von der Druckerei Wayne and Enterprises. Werte Mr. Bruce Wayne, Ihre Plakate für die große Ausstellung in Kew Gardens sind wundervoll geworden. Allerdings ist es wohl nicht nötig, die gesamte Belegschaft zu erwähnen. Nur mein Name ist ausreichend. Montague. Ein eingebildetes Arschloch, Alter. Oh, was wird das denn?
First of all, let us carry out an external examination.
Bin bereit.
There is an injury to the skull, most probably caused by the fall in the water lily greenhouse. The vessels and the pupil of the eye appear quite normal. The air from the lungs carries a faint floral aroma.
Oh, doch Mord. Lasst uns die
There
Lunge
are no
aufschneiden.
suspicious marks upon the chest. Let us finish our external examination so that we can proceed with the autopsy. Nothing suspicious here. No
Leichtstarre.
rents, stings, or bruises. Now, let us examine the internal organs.
Ich will direkt zu den Lungen. Ja. Yes.
The lungs are congested and edematous.
Oh oh. Oh
The tissue
oh.
on the inferior lobe of the right lung is damaged, most probably caused by toxins from an unknown plant.
Ich liebe es, recht zu haben.
The heart's blood vessels show no pathological signs. The heart tissue shows no visible pathological signs. The liver is enlarged. It would seem that he was suffering from an alcohol
Okay,
addiction.
woran erkennt man das?
The liver tissue is brown. There are no visible pathological signs. The stomach tissues show no visible pathological signs. There is a small amount of content. It appears that he breakfasted lightly, only a short while before his death. My suspicions have been substantiated. Montague Dunn, the director of Kew Gardens, died from poisoning. Plant poisoning, to be more exact.
You mean
Yes, it is murder.
we should inform Lestrade?
Yes, but do remember, Watson, that I discovered the murder. The challenge is mine.
The challenge, Holmes?
We need to locate that deadly plant. Such a perfect murder appeals to me.
Murder of any kind appeals to you. Is that all we need to do?
No, we also have the people working at Kew Gardens. Martin Hamish and the son of the victim, Albert Dunn.
And also Miss White, of whom we spoke with Mr. Hamish. Should we bring them all here for interrogation?
No. A few innocuous questions at Kew will suffice, as
Wenn ich
well
mal
as a
Miss White
discreet
finden würde.
delve into their personal affairs.
Jetzt kommen wir der Unterwäsche näher.
It is time now to open the doors.
Even those in the staff building. I suppose that is necessary.
We should also be concerned with the victim himself. After all, we don't know very much about Montague Dunn.
You're enjoying this already, aren't you?
More than a little.
Ja. Er inhalierte ein tödliches Pflanzengift. Das ist sehr gut.
Mr. Hamish, can you explain to us what happened to the colonial collection? It seems somewhat depleted.
But, most likely maintenance work, tidying up.
war's!
You're not sure, then? But you're the deputy director.
Well, I am busy. I cannot be everywhere at once.
As deputy director, how was your relationship with Montague Dunn?
To be honest with you, Mr. Holmes, it could have been better. You see, every Tuesday he would carry out his inspection of the gardens, but it was solely to make an impression, great pretense that he cared at all. He would give out absurd orders, ignoring anyone else's opinion. He would then disappear for the rest of the week. He was what some might call a man of action. I'd say rather he was overzealous and chaotic. So after all, it was no wonder, perhaps, that he ended up like that, if you take into consideration his kind of lifestyle.
You mentioned that Mr. Dunn led a particular lifestyle.
Well, it's no secret that he enjoyed, celebrating, shall we say? He was a member of the London Smart Set. He was famous for it. That
And
he had an eye for the ladies, to put it mildly, Mr. Holmes.
Mrs. White, Mrs. White.
Mr. Hamish, can you tell us who holds the keys to the locked greenhouses?
That would be Albert, Mr. Dunn's son. Yes, Albert keeps all the keys, and one can only imagine why.
What do you mean?
Well, he was never interested in Kew Gardens before, and now all of a sudden he is trying to act as if he owns the place. I think he wants to take over the management here. He'd do better to leave that to me. He has no experience. No, none at all.
What is your opinion of Albert as a student of botany?
He's useless. I often tell him so, and I can only give him cleaning tasks. Botany is not his life's work, and his father well knew it. He was furious about it.
He was.
Oh yes, he forced his son to work here, and he never missed an opportunity to criticize him publicly.
Are you able to elaborate on that?
Well, for example, with our last exhibition here, Mr. Dunn had Albert make a presentation speech. But then, while the lad was speaking, Mr. Dunn interrupted him, asking him difficult questions, making him look like a failure. It was with the intention of making a fool of him, Mr. Holmes.
That must have been terribly humiliating.
Yes, he was crushed, and he had to leave. Everybody was making fun of poor Albert. That is, except for Miss Margaret White, who was such a nice lady and who
Oha.
always takes pity on Albert.
You mentioned a Miss White. Would you tell us more about her?
She is a student who works here part-time. She is quite charming indeed. She possesses a great talent for botany. You should take a look at some of her experiments that she carried out in the laboratory. Ah, if only she were not so naive.
Why naive?
The way she used to flutter around Mr. Montague Dunn. And why, he couldn't help but be flattered by all her attention. How could an intelligent woman such as Miss White not see through his game? I can only scratch my head and wonder.
Alter, was ist das für ein Typ?
Tell me, Mr. Hamish, do you grow the more deadly variety of plant here?
You mean insectivorous? Yes, but nothing larger than that.
Das war nicht meine Frage.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
Mr. Hamish.
Locked.
Ah.
C. Locked. These flower pots are beautiful. They are intended to be used for exhibition purposes. The symbol is not from Kew Gardens.
Mhm. Oh no.
Dry tropics. Water lily greenhouse. Water lily greenhouse. According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building. According to Who is Miss Margaret White?
Ah, she is the young lady who studies with me. She visits here sometimes to help out with the greenhouses. In fact, she should be here today. She wanted to work at the seed house. That's the small greenhouse across from the large glass house.
We noticed that a part of the colonial collection has been cleared.
Ah, at the moment I'm just dealing with the storage room. I don't know much about the other rooms.
I imagine that your relationship with your father may have been a strained one.
Yes. I cannot say that he was a kind man, for he never listened to me at all. He forced me to work here. But now, after his death, I've been pondering it over. Perhaps he wasn't so wrong about me after all. I have to follow his path. I have to manage Kew Gardens. And I can do it. I can be as good as any other who works here.
Would you please tell us about Martin Hamish, the deputy director?
Well, I have to tell you that Mr. Hamish is not and has never been the deputy director of Kew Gardens. My father would not have tolerated it.
Indeed? Well, that is most interesting. He told us that he was.
Yes, because he believes that the management should be passed down to him now that my father is dead. But in actual fact, Mr. Hamish only has the honour of being the garden's longest-serving employee. In fact, if we are to think logically at all, it should be me who takes over the management of Kew Gardens.
Do you not have a good relationship with Mr. Hamish?
I suppose so. But we have very little in common. Mr. Hamish loves his plants and Kew Gardens, and I cannot say that I share his passion.
I see. And how was his relationship with your father?
Oh, he hated my father. It was obvious. He would be furious whenever my father boasted of Kew Gardens in the newspapers or at conferences. He was convinced that my father was stealing all of the credit for himself. But my father treated Mr. Hamish in the same way as he treated anyone. Dismissively. With indifference.
Do you hold the keys to all of these locked doors?
Yes, you can have them.
Ja!
But I cannot give you the keys to the cloakroom.
Ach,
The employees' effects are private. I am sure you understand.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Ganzen Mut zusammengefasst und schreibe Ihnen diesen Brief. Ich kann kaum in Worte fassen, wie dankbar ich Ihnen bin. An jenem schrecklichen Abend dachte ich, dass mein Leben ruiniert sei, aber gleichzeitig erkannte ich, dass da jemanden gab, der mich wirklich liebte und für die ich auch nichts als Liebe empfand. Sie kennen ihn. Ich rede von Captain Jack Crooker. Seine Liebe hat mir die Kraft zum Leben gegeben und selbst wenn wir am Ende nicht zusammen sein können, wäre das alles ohne sie nicht möglich gewesen. Hochachtungsvoll Mary Bacon Backenbuckelbar. Nice, Alter. Siehst du, das war der Fall von Jens. Symbol on the top. Göttliche scholarische Gesellschaft für eine vegetative Verehrung und Meditation. Die Mitglieder der Gesellschaft beten Trevan an, den Gottkönig. Ihr Ziel ist es, spirituellen Frieden zu finden und sich von den Zwängen des Materialismus zu befreien. Von daher sind die Spenden, die sie erhalten, recht groß.
Here it is. The Divine Syndicate is not a supplier to Kew Gardens. Besides, there is no address here. That is not the one I need. That is...
Seymour Gartenweltwerkzeuge und Vorräte für den Garten. Wir sind ein Premium-Lieferant für all Ihre Bedürfnisse im Gartenbau. Umfangreiche Auswahl und Lieferung von Sand, Pflanzen, Mulch und bla bla bla.
Here it is.
Someone should take Toby for a walk. Have you found something interesting?
Du Spasti.
Oh dear, Toby. I wasn't... A map of London and...
Eigentlich habe ich jetzt gedacht, wir gehen jetzt zu dieser neuen Dingens.
My archive. I can always consult with it if needed.
Muss ich jetzt... Hä? Muss ich jetzt auf einer Landkarte gucken, wo der Ort ist? Ich bin gerade verwirrt. Ich fahre in die falsche Richtung. Ich muss nochmal... Ich gehe nochmal zurück. Da stand nur eine Adresse. Wieso könnte ich denn jetzt nicht an diese Adresse fahren?
A map of London and the surrounding area. It could be... A map of London and the surrounding area. It could be useful. Are you aware of the Divine Syndicate?
The Divine what? Is this a joke?
No, I am quite serious.
What a ridiculous name. Anyway, I have never heard of this syndicate.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation. Tell me, have you ever heard of the Divine Syndicate?
No, I cannot say that I have.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Das ist sogar eine richtig wichtige Info hier. Miss White im Saathaus, alles klar. Das steht sie schon mal genau richtig.
According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building.
Stopp! Stehen bleiben! Halt! Stehen bleiben!
Look, Holmes, this charming lady must be Miss White. She's entering the seed house.
Entschuldigen Sie, Miss. Miss. Miss.
Open.
Ah, erledigt bist du jetzt.
Good day to you, miss. You have some very beautiful plants here.
Och, Watson
Why,
kommt
thank you,
schon.
sir. And good day to you too. But
Oh, I do beg your pardon. My name is Dr. John Watson. This is my good friend, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
I am honored to make your acquaintance, gentlemen. My name is Margaret White. Excuse me, but are you Sherlock Holmes, the great detective?
Yes, I am he.
What a pleasure to see you here at Kew Gardens. Are you working on a
Garden.
case?
Teures Parfum. Gut, dass ich das nicht riechen kann. Was hat sie hier so? Gepflegtes Äußeres. Okay, ja, das wird man da alles auslesen. Okay, was ist mir jetzt entgangen? Ein Ehering und Fahrrad.
Yes, a theft of plants that took place here a few days ago after their most recent exhibition.
Oh yes, of course. I quite forgot about that.
Wie kann man davon was vergessen?
Oh, it's quite understandable that you...
Warum redet er jetzt?
The plants, miss. After the tragedy that took place here.
Yes. The director was a truly good man. It is such a terrible misfortune.
Would you happen to know why part of the colonial collection was cleared?
No, I have never been there.
Do you work here?
Part-time only. I am a biology student at the London University. I attend the same classes as the son of Mr. Montague Dunn. That is how I found my chance to work here for part of my thesis, you see. It is a great honor.
How well did you know Mr. Montague Dunn?
He was a master, a great leader. I saw him almost as a spiritual father.
He had
Ekelhaft.
an exceptional nature.
Oh yes, indeed. He was always so active and so optimistic and very nice to me. Although he could behave harshly towards his son.
Why so?
He loved his son dearly and wanted the very best for him. It made him extremely demanding. Albert, who is naturally shy, suffered because of it.
The Divine Syndicate. Does that name mean anything to you, by any chance?
Not at all. But it is a very pretty name.
Most of the doors in Kew Gardens are locked. Do you have a key to this room?
Oh, yes. Albert gave me a set of duplicate keys. He agreed I might carry out my studies without disturbing him. It is only temporary.
Thank you, miss. None of the 3 people who work at Kew Gardens know why half of the colonial collection was cleared. So, someone is lying. It is obvious.
Das ist klar.
Materials for college study. They belong to Albert. A book about ships. Nothing at all to do with plants.
Woher man
These
exotisch.
leather gloves are new and of good quality. They do not appear to have been used. This place serves as Albert's office. From here, we are unable to see the interior of the colonial collection room. From here, we are unable to see the interior of the colonial collection room. This is one of the outlets of the ventilation system.
Poor
Ups,
Mr. Mon-
Entschuldigung.
A ventilation system. It should regulate the temperature.
Hier stehe ich. Da wollen wir jetzt erstmal wieder. Okay, heftigen Umweg gelaufen, aber egal. Njau.
Excuse me, but I have to tidy up this room.
Seerosenhaus. Hä? Ich habe mich schon wieder verlaufen, ne? Wieso gucke ich nicht einfach auf die Karten? Jetzt bin ich hier. So, das Kolonialgebäude ist hier. Seerosen, Kolonialhaus.
Dry.
Seerosen, Kolonial Collection.
These plants come from all the territories of the British Empire. Soil.
Vom Boden des Kolonialhauses, also tatsächlich von hier. Ah. Bin ich denn irgendwo noch nicht reingekommen? Ja, bin ich. Tatsache. Ach, wie komme ich denn hier wieder raus?
Do not touch.
Here is a list of the stolen plants.
Ich dachte, ich habe jetzt schon alles. Ich habe jetzt den Schlüssel zu allen Gebäuden, nur zu den Umkleiden nicht. Bin ich hier richtig? Ha! Progress. Easy. Na, wer trinkt denn hier gerne?
French wine, a remarkable vintage. Champagne. Montague Dunn had good taste. Newspapers discussing Kew Gardens.
Neue Pflanzenart. Die Belegschaft von Kew Garden verkündet voller Stolz die Züchtung einer neuen Gerstenart, die völlig resistent gegenüber Kälte ist. Folgerichtig wurde sie sibirische Gerste getauft. Martin Hamish, der stolze Züchter der neuen Getreideart, wird am kommenden Montag eine Pressekonferenz zu dem Thema abhalten. Liebste Margarete, nach unserem letzten Gespräch, glaube ich, wäre es besser, wenn du deine Arbeit hier in Kew Gardens einstellen würdest. Wie du ziemlich offen festgestellt hast, bist du ja nicht mehr auf meine Unterstützung angewiesen. Denn du stehst offensichtlich auf eigenen Füßen, wie du gemeint hast. Nun, so gebe ich dir deine Freiheit zurück und wünsche dir viel Glück in deinem zukünftigen Leben. Montague Dunn. Oha, Monty. Hat sie dich abblitzen lassen?
A photograph of Montague Dunn and Reynold Hamish.
Hamish. Und ein Safe, den wir einfach mal knacken werden. Easy, okay, Prinzip verstanden. Okay, ich habe das Prinzip nicht verstanden. Okay, man muss alles machen. Scheiße. Ach Mann. Ach, ich kann auch gedrückt halten. Ach, und ich habe einfach geklickt die ganze Zeit, wie so ein Trottel. Mein lieber Freund, erlaube mir bitte, meine Enttäuschung über deinen letzten Brief zu äußern. Ich bezahle dich, damit du mich verteidigst und nicht, damit du mich beschuldigst. Kew Garden ist eine königliche Einrichtung. Wir erhalten die großartige Möglichkeit, die ganze Welt zu bereisen und die wertvollsten und seltensten Pflanzen zu bewahren. Unsere Aufgabe besteht darin, solche Pflanzen zu schützen. Auch und vor allem vor jenen, die mit ihnen ihre dubiosen Geschäfte machen wollen. Diese göttliche Gesellschaft, von der du schreibst, hat kein Recht, solch wertvollen Pflanzen zu erhalten. Erinnere dich bitte an den Vorfall 1889. Aus diesem Grund möchte ich dich bei allem Respekt ein weiteres Mal bitten, Kew Garden die Genehmigung hinsichtlich dieser Pflanze zu beglaubigen. Die entsprechenden Dokumenten wurden dir am Montag zugeschickt. PS, wir sehen uns wie immer am Dienstag im Budels. Mr. Dune, wir bitten Sie zum letzten Mal, uns unsere lieben Schwestern zurückzugeben. Was? Sie haben nicht das Recht, sie gefangen zu halten. Sie gehören Ihnen nicht. Ihre sogenannte Genehmigungen sind allesamt ungültig. Sie verstecken sich hinter Lügen. Unter anderem hinter der Lüge, die Sie in der Presse als den Vorfall verbreitet wurde. Da sind keine weiteren Details nötig. Was Sie getan haben, ist wahrscheinlich abscheulich. Seien Sie versichert, dass wir unseren Schwestern niemals aufgeben werden. Wir haben Ihnen vertraut und bereuen das nun sehr. Die göttliche Gesellschaft. Ah ja.
I suggest that we don't tell Miss Margaret White about this document.
Schulden von Miss Margaret White an Mr. Montague Dune. Vermietung einer Wohnung in der Oxford Street. Ein Stipendium für das Studium an der Universität von London. Kredit bei Hamilton bei der Regina irgendwas Schneiderei. Eigentlich hätte ich mir das nicht durchlesen dürfen, weil jetzt, wenn ich dann mit ihr rede, werde ich garantiert den Fehler machen und das dann als Punkt wählen.
Just
Das ist hier jetzt die Unterkunft oder was?
Locked.
Okay. Ein Labortisch. Hier haben wir schon mal die giftigen Gase. Flaschenabdruck.
There was a bottle here. It left behind a trace of the substance that pervaded the laboratory. Several drops of the substance were spilled. Someone carried this bottle around. Several drops of the substance were spilled.
Gold dust? Good heavens. What's it doing here?
The gold is almost immune to chemical attacks, so it may be a valuable auxiliary for various experiments.
But why would anyone perform such experiments in a botanical garden?
The bottle is no longer here, but it is possible to detect a faint scent. We need a good nose. Chemicals, a sufficient quantity.
A phonograph used for voice recording. Remarkable.
Yes, this is quite a modern laboratory.
Martin Hamish's perception of plants. The notion of communication in the plant world has long been considered marginal, yet I remain convinced that some plants do indeed transmit chemical signals in the event of attack.
A study report by Martin Hamish.
And it seems clear from these multiple experiments that plants do respond to their environment and have a form of consciousness. Margaret White, February 1895. Report number 245.
Study report. This is a table for experiments. It resembles my own.
Only this one is kept in good order, Holmes.
Locked.
Holmes, Albert Dunn didn't give us the key to this door.
It does not matter. We will open it.
Yes! Yes. Ich weiß gerade nicht, wo ich lang will. Scheiße, das ist der falsche. Wenn der nicht funktioniert... Aha! Das hätte man mir auch früher sagen können, dass da diese Pfeile genau das bedeuten sollen, ey. Easy game.
Open. Miss White's locker. Apparently, Miss White is a capable student.
Okay, keine Ahnung, was da stand.
A draft of the letter that Miss White sent to her parents.
Liebe Mutter, liebe Vater, nur mit Widerwillen schreibe ich diesen Brief, um euch um Hilfe zu bitten. Meine Studien- und Wohnkosten haben sich als höher herausgestellt als ursprünglich gedacht. Aus diesem Grund fürchte ich, ich werde sie auf lange Sicht nicht tragen können. Mir ist bewusst, dass wir in der Vergangenheit nicht immer einer Meinung waren, aber ihr werdet hoffentlich nicht so herzlos sein und tatenlos mit ansehen, wie eure Tochter nur aufgrund von Geldmangel ihr Studium nicht abschließen kann, oder?
These jewels must be worth a small fortune. A vanity purse. It is of high quality.
Wir waren ganz überrascht, als wir deinen Brief erhalten haben. Wie kannst du uns nur um Geld bitten? Nach all den Jahren, seitdem du uns verlassen hast und in denen du nicht ein einziges Mal an uns gedacht hast. Bisher hast du uns nie etwas über dein Studium verraten, aber jetzt auf einmal tust du es doch. Vermutlich schämst du dich einfach für uns, weil wir nicht aus derselben oberen Klasse wie deine neuen Freunde stammen. Ja, wir sind bescheidene Menschen, aber du hättest zumindest von uns lernen können, dass die Familie an erster Stelle kommen sollte. Und zumindest haben wir nie unseren Ruf ruiniert, wie du es offensichtlich bereits mit deinem Arbeitgeber Mr. Dune getan hast. Nein, Margaret, wir sind es, die sich wegen dir schämen müssen. Liebe Margaret, ich weiß, wie sehr dich deine Geldprobleme im Moment belasten. Ich werde jedoch nicht zulassen, dass du in solch einer Zwickmühle bleibst. Da kannst du dir sicher sein, ich stamme aus einer wohlhabenden Familie und ich würde es als große Ehre erachten, wenn du meine Unterstützung annehmen würdest. Dein treuer Freund Albert.
Martin Hamish's locker. Martin Hamish studied chemistry.
Junge, wie viele Briefe, Alter. Generalsekretär, aufgrund der jüngsten Ereignisse in Kew Gardens möchte ich meine Bewerbung im Posten des Direktors erneuern. Wie ich bereits in meinen früheren Briefen bekundet habe, halte ich niemanden für besseres geeignet als mich selbst. Als Mr. Dune noch am Leben war, konnte ich Ihre Bedenken in dieser Hinsicht verstehen. Sie hatten politische Gründe und ich hatte selbstverständlich damit abgefunden, doch jetzt herrscht große Unordnung in Kew Gardens. Wie kann ich in dieser Situation tatenlos zusehen? Wie kann ich die Gärten unerfahrenen und unmotivierten Menschen überlassen? Von daher muss ich Sie bitten, schnellstmöglich eine Entscheidung zu treffen, damit ich mich voller Stärke diesen wichtigen Aufgaben widmen kann und nicht mehr belastet werde durch die fortwährende Ungewissheit.
A review on rare and exotic plants. Martin Hamish has written several pieces. Father and I, Kew Gardens.
Boah.
Albert's locker.
Ein Schiff. Oh Gott.
A picture of Miss White and Albert in front of the University of London.
And they seem to get along.
Hat er das nach oben hingelegt? Nein, das muss in... Oh.
Specialist articles on shipyards and ship construction. Albert Dunn has a great passion for shipbuilding and the sea.
Das heißt, ihr habt zusammen in einem
A
Zimmer
rejection
gelernt.
letter from the British Royal Naval College.
Mit Bedauern muss ich Ihnen mitteilen, dass wir Sie trotz Ihrer hervorragenden Ergebnisse bei unserer Eingang für Royal Navy College willkommen heißen möchten. Ihr Vater Monogon hatte seine Absicht zum Ausdruck gebracht, Ihnen die Leitung der königlichen botanischen Gärten in Kew Gardens anzuvertrauen, und es erscheint selbstverständlich, dass er nicht ein ganzes Jahr für die Marineausbildung auf sie verzichten wird. Wir wünschen Ihnen viel Glück für die Zukunft. Kew Garden, Hochachtung vor Major, schieß mich tot. Aha, deswegen die Begeisterung für Schiffe. Okay, was müssen wir jetzt machen? Wir müssen einmal zurückgehen, wir müssen einmal abchecken, dann müssen wir viel quatschen. Wir müssen Spürnase mitnehmen, das habe ich vergessen. Ne? Ah, nee, wir machen, bevor wir Spürnase machen.
My analysis
Nein,
table.
nein. Welt mit Pflanzen. Enzyklopädie, Zeitung, Forschungsberichte. Chemie, Gifte und Toxine.
That is not the one I need. That is...
Quatsch. Die Gemeinsamkeit dieser Pflanze besteht darin, dass sie mehr oder minder stark giftig sind. Bla 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 und bla bla bla. Jedoch können nur die ersten 3 Pflanzen für Menschen gefährlich werden. Vor allem Florim irgendwas. Heißt auch Diabolika. Allerdings nur unter bestimmten Bedingungen. Die Pflanze muss einer aggressiven Stimulation ausgesetzt sein, auf die mit Schleudern von tödlichen Spuren reagieren.
Here it is. That is not the one I need.
Schade, ich hätte es jetzt gerne trotzdem gelesen, warum der... Skandal bei der göttlichen Gesellschaft. Eingetragen in 48 Groß Silver Street, irgendwas, Vereinigung von Anhängern des sogenannten Gottkönigs Trevan, die den Schutz von Pflanzen und Bäumen als ihr Ziel vorgeben, steht im Mittelpunkt von polizeilichen Ermittlungen. Die Anführer dieser Vereinigung stehen in Verdacht der Veruntreuung von Vereinsgeldern. Vereinsgeldern? Ich dachte, das ist sowas wie eine Sekte. Je nach Ausgang der Ermittlung besteht die Möglichkeit, dass offizielle Anklage erhoben wird. Indes werden viele Stimmen laut, die das Vorgehen der Polizei scharf verurteilen. Das verwundert allerdings nicht, denn diese private Organisation, die sich offenbar den Naturschutz auf die Fahne geschrieben hat, kann zahlreichen einflussreichen Mitglieder vorweisen, darunter auch bekannte politische Persönlichkeiten der Oppositionspolizei.
And here is the Divine Syndicate's address. Perfect. It is time to find out what they have against Montague Dunn. Come on, Toby. We have some work for you to do. Let us go to Kew Gardens. Let us take Toby to the laboratory. He will pick up the scent of this mysterious substance. Search, Toby. Search.
Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. Boah, dieser Detailgrad bei diesem Hund, der ist so faszinierend. Guck dir diese Fettfalten an seinem Nacken an. Ach, komm schon, da war ich doch. Da bin ich aber sogar lang gelaufen. Da gab es nichts zu entdecken. Okay, so weit bin ich nicht gelaufen.
Congratulations, Toby. Now let us see what you have found.
Ah, das Fläschchen.
This is the bottle that was used in the laboratory. It was buried here. There is still some liquid remaining in the bottle, with gold flakes. A tiny caterpillar. Not surprising to see one in a garden, but at the bottom of a bottle.
Die sind wohl tot. Ja, das habe ich schon lange herausgefunden.
If I go there, Toby will wait for me in the cab.
Oh, okay. Bin ich zu früh abgehauen? Hätte Tobi
This
noch
place
so
is beautiful, Holmes. Its atmosphere is remarkably soothing.
Let us find someone who could help us.
zufällig ihn? Ah, wollen Sie scharf? Wollen Sie scharf oder scharf?
Good day to you, sir. My name is Sherlock.
I am exalting the sun. A while can you wait? From the trace of elements and moreover from the quality of the ambient geotropism it depends. Therefore, please, mind my gravitropism. Its balance. Do not disturb.
Disturbed is most definitely the word.
Completed is the symbiosis. Welcomed you are. To introduce myself, I shall.
Willkommen! Wie ich Sie heiße, wenn ich es vorstellen darf, größte Persönlichkeit.
Grand Mystic. Himself.
This is me. Who am I speaking to?
We are two gentlemen who are extremely interested in the vegetation philosophy that is advocated by this establishment.
Listening to you, I am.
Okay, was ist das hier für Knacki-Tattoos da? Ja, Tätowierung, toll. Oh Gott, der kann Karate. Definitiv kann der Karate. Oha! Hä? Nein! Das kann jetzt nicht sein.
We should like to take a look around, to immerse ourselves in the wisdom that emanates from here.
It is a school of anastomosis, the divine scholastic syndicate for vegetation veneration and meditation. You may say, the divine syndicate, glory to the eukaryotic. Only true devotees, Those whose hearts are ready to spermatophize in sharing of knowledge are permitted to physically enter our vegetable kingdom and its wisdom. And to be permitted, you must earn it. Yes.
We visited Kew Gardens, and we found your symbols on their flower pots.
Coincidence, I am thinking. They would scavenge our refuse. It would not surprise me.
It was merely an observation.
Das ist der Aggressor, der da drin war, damit
Green
das Gift
Grand
wirkt.
Mystic, we are ready to become devotees and gain access to your temple.
What is the name of our Lord, our God King?
Weiß ich. Drehbahn.
Our God King's name is Trewan, Green Grand Mystic.
Oh la, good, good, I like you. Here is the holy key to the wisdom place. Holy donation can you make whenever you so wish.
Thank you so much.
I pray you to taste our fertilizer substance. From the burdens of life it helps to free.
But of course.
Raw sap, it is called. It is near the entrance.
Oh, davon kann ich mir was mitnehmen, bestimmt, oder?
Well, we will leave you to your meditation. A fragment of a flower pot. The Kew Gardens symbol.
Alter, das waren die. Das ist doch jetzt schon, also... Wenn die das nicht waren, dann, keine Ahnung. Die haben auf jeden Fall die Töpfe ausgetauscht. Das ist der Aggressor gewesen, damit das Gift heftig expandieren kann. Oh Gott, Alter, was ist das denn für ein stranger Typ hier?
This door is locked, but I can try to open it.
Ah, nee, noch nicht. Okay, doch, einfach direkt vor seiner Nase. Hä? Das klappt gar nicht.
Praise the grand tree. Praise it.
This must be Trewan, the Divine Syndicate's god. Caterpillars. They are raised as food for certain plants. Let's take them. A tropical plant. Nothing of interest. A tropical plant. Nothing of interest. These three plants are identical to the ones shown at the exhibition. I shall take them. tropical plant. Nothing of interest. A tropical plant. Nothing of interest. A tropical plant. Nothing of interest. A tropical plant. Nothing of interest. These instruments are used for smoking opium. A vast amount of opium. This cabinet is full of chemicals. They are the same as the ones we found in the laboratory at Kew Gardens. That would be enough to perform the most difficult of chemical experiments.
Oh Gott, ich glaube, ich vergesse irgendwie irgendwann was noch. Oh ja, Herleitung öffnen zum Beispiel. Oh, das mache ich jetzt aber anders. Diebstahl und Mord. Der oder die Mörder könnten diejenigen sein, die die exotischen Pflanzen inklusive der tödlichen nach der letzten Ausstellung in Kew Gardens gestohlen haben. Margaret Whites Studium und soziale Situationen hingen vollständig von Montague Dune ab. Montague Dune hatte vor, Miss Whites Arbeitsfelder als Angeklagte von Kew Gardens zu beenden, das ist korrekt. Okay. Muss ich das jetzt hier bei mir machen? Ja.
Let us determine just what we have found here. Let us pour liquid from the bottle into a test tube to perform an analysis. This is the bottle that we found hidden at Kew Gardens. Let us use a pipette to take a sample of the liquid and fill a test tube.
Musst du nicht gleich alles?
A colorless, water-based liquid. Quite a strong floral aroma.
Holmes? What are you doing?
It has a bitter taste.
What if it's poisonous?
Did you ever see poison stored in enormous jars like that? Anyway, there is a doctor nearby.
So, what do you think it is?
It is some kind of organic compound. Let us vaporize the liquid and see what happens.
Oh, wird es gelb?
Small colorless crystals. Colorless, tiny crystals that are soluble in water, with a floral smell and a bitter taste. Watson, could you pass me that small bottle, please?
Of course. Here you are. Holmes, do you know what it is?
Wagner's reagent. There was a label on the bottle that you passed to me.
No, Holmes, I meant the bottle that we found.
Let me add the reagent and see if there is any sediment, and then I shall tell you.
Hä? Okay, ich hab so schnell
I
war ich
need
nicht.
to take a pipette
Ach
and make
ja,
several drops of the
ja.
reagent.
Ich will das da schon wieder ganz reinkippen, ey. Hallo? Hallo? Ah,
Red sediment, just as I suspected. This liquid is of organic origin. It contains some alkaloid. Most likely it is unstable, and that is why there is a quantity of gold dust to prevent contamination. This mixture is probably a fertilizer. Someone was carrying out unusual experiments in the garden's laboratory. My analysis table.
führen Sie Experiment mit den tödlichen Pflanzen durch, bei denen Sie die Alkohol erlauben. Ja.
Oh dear, Toby. I wasn't aware.
Oh, warte. Nee, da wollte ich gar nicht rein. Kann ich hier nicht? Nee, muss ich doch das andere nehmen? Oh. Nee, wollte ich gar nicht. Okay, dann müssen wir halt doch durchlaufen. Hier waren wir auch noch nicht drin. Oh, Jesus Christ, Alter, ich vergesse doch gleich noch alles Sachen. Oh, da ist diese rote Flüssigkeit. Boah, das sind alles irgendwie gerade schon so ein bisschen zu viele.
Case. It is empty. A thesis written by Martin Hamish. This area serves as Martin Hamish's office. We can see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room from this window.
Oh, das sagt
We
mir
can
jetzt
see the
was.
interior of the Colonial... We can see...
Geht doch.
This poster is for an exhibition that Martin Hamish was directing. But it had nothing to do with Kew Gardens. This certificate belongs to Martin Hamish. He won a horticultural competition. These young plants must be delicate if they are kept in the nursery. These young... It is a bust of Montague Dunn. I am curious if the marble that we found... Here it is. The marble fragment that we found in the Colonial Collection Room is what they have in common. The seeds of plant species are stored here. Lock.
Kew Gardens is such an exciting place.
Ich hätte jetzt eigentlich gedacht, dass ich übelst viel mit allen labern kann.
Mr. Hamish, was someone from your family connected with Kew Gardens?
Family? No. I'm the only one with a passion for botany.
Ha!
I do not think so. This photograph of you and your father at Kew Gardens suggests the opposite.
But you have no right to.
Do tell us more about your father.
He was, indeed, the greatest botanist of his time in the British Empire. He worked together with Montague Dunn until the end of his life. He brought me in at the age of 12.
Did he get on well with Mr. Dunn?
No, I couldn't say that. They expanded Kew Gardens together, that was all. And it was all my father's work. But Dunn always lived the high life.
So Mr. Dunn was not helping your father?
Oh yes, he provided the financial support. And as far as he was concerned, that fulfilled his role. But the worst of it was, he declared himself as the master of Kew Gardens. Fame meant nothing to my father. So it was easy for Mr. Dunn to take all the credit.
There is a bust of Montague Dunn in the nursery.
A bust? Oh, that old thing. Further proof of that outrageous ego of his.
But why in that room in particular?
Oh, I don't know. It has always been there.
It is strange, because I recovered a fragment of the bust inside the Colonial Collection Room.
Really? Oh, well, so I am mistaken. It ought to have been removed during the cleanup. This room is so small.
Do you know who moved it?
I have no idea. Surely Mr. Dunn requested it. Do you have any more questions like this? Because fragments of rock are not my responsibility.
Evidently. Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation. I perceive that you are passionate about the Royal Navy.
Passionate? No, not really. I like ships, that is all.
Are you quite sure? You do not seem to be so interested in plants.
It's difficult, that's all. My future is here. It has never been about anything else.
Oh, was? Markierte Blumentöpfe, Symbol auf zerbrochenem Topf. Alberts Hoffnung. Das war doch
And
die
yes, I
Marinescheiß.
know that the Royal Naval College rejected your application.
Ah, you truly are as clever as they say. Yes, that's correct. And in fact, my father was strongly against the idea. He did his best to ruin my plans, although I almost did succeed. But my dreams were shattered, Mr. Holmes.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Albert hatte ein Motiv für den Mord an seinem Vater. Dieser hatte seinen Traum zerstört, sich der Royal Navy anzuschließen. Durch den Mord hätte sich Albert nur gerecht, sondern auch die Nachfolge seines Vaters als Direktor von Kew Gardens übernehmen können. Martin Hamish hatte ein Motiv. Er glaubte, Dune habe ihm und seinem Vater das Leben ruiniert, indem er das ganze Lob für ihre Verdienste eingesammelt hatte. Hamish wollte die Leitung der Gärten übernehmen, wusste jedoch, dass nicht möglich war, solange Dune lebte. Die folgenden 3 Pflanzen haben sich als tödlich für Menschen herausgestellt. Die Voraussetzungen für die Giftwirkung sind allerdings recht kompliziert, denn für die werden ein bestimmtes Düngemittel, natürliche Stimulation und Nahrung benötigt. Raupen sollten in der Hinsicht funktionieren. Ich habe dabei jetzt alles mitgehen lassen, oder nicht?
According to the deadly plants information, in order to perform our experiment, we will need fertilizer and food. Caterpillars should do nicely. According to the deadly plants information, in order to perform our experiment, we will need fertilizer and food.
Also fehlt mir noch
My
Dünger.
analysis table. It is useful for my work.
Oh. Aber ich sollte mir doch den Dünger mitnehmen. Hat der nicht gesagt, ich soll mir den Dünger von Dings mitnehmen?
Do you have friends at Kew Gardens?
None. Not worthy there.
Ach, was echt? Das ist doch beides das Gleiche.
None. Not worthy there.
What?
None. Not worthy there.
Ach ja, die Blumentöpfe, die hinten liegen.
Nevertheless, we have seen Kew Gardens flower pots in your yard. How could they happen to be there?
What? Our sacred place you permitted yourself to search. Sacrilege.
No, really now. There was a theft of plants at Kew Gardens a matter of days ago, and we believe the pots we found here may be connected with it. Please tell us, were you involved?
No. Those plants were ours. They had stolen them from us.
How so?
Their director, Dump, I believe.
Done.
Yes, that's what I said. He borrowed from us 3 of our sisters for the exhibition at his green fly-infested gardens. But he never gave them back to us. Excuses and imbecility. So we went in and saved them.
I see. So, if you stole those rare plants from them, then it means... Ah, I get it. Bravo, Holmes. I think the case is solved.
No, we did not steal. We saved. Well, as a matter of fact, we were unable to find our 3 plants.
I beg your pardon. And yet you took all of the exotic plants from the stand.
They had disappeared. It was the least we could do. They stole our sisters, and so we stole theirs.
Hä? Voll keinen Sinn und so.
Well, we will leave you to your...
Albert hat ein Motiv... Hä, das habe ich schon ausgewählt. Wo ist das? Da. Die göttliche Gesellschaft stahl alle Pflanzen, auch die tödlichen. Sie konnten sie eingesetzt haben, um Montague zu ermorden. Die göttliche Gesellschaft stahl nach der Ausstellung alle Pflanzen, bis auf die tödlichen. Nur alle gestohlen. Die göttliche Gesellschaft hat den Mord an Montague und Dune begangen. Sie war mit Dune in einen Streit über die gestohlenen Pflanzen geraten. Fälle für grüne Mystiker. Den großen grünen Mystiker zu Scotland Yard locken. Nur so kann man mit einer gefährlichen Person fertig werden, die den Diebstahl der exotischen Pflanzen organisiert und Montague Dune kaltblütig aus Rache ermordet hat. Mystiker einweisen. Weisen Sie den großen grünen Mystiker in eine Heilanstalt ein, ohne die Polizei zu benachrichtigen. Aufgrund eines Opiummissbrauchs ist er nicht mehr ganz bei Sinn und benötigt professionelle Hilfe. Scheiße, woher kriege ich jetzt nochmal die Kackerde? Wo? Das hätte man mir nicht zeigen dürfen. Wo ist die schwuchtelige Erde? Drogentisch.
That should be the raw sap that the Green Grand Mystic spoke of.
Davon nehmen wir doch erstmal was mit. Jawohl, könnt ihr.
This is rather delicious and of an excellent quality.
My word, Holmes. Their sap is like a form of cocaine.
Ja, deswegen sagt er ja, dass es gut ist. Wo finde ich denn jetzt hier diese Kackerde, Mann? Hier doch bestimmt.
This substance is an alkaloid, the same as in the bottle we found in the bushes at Kew Gardens. Perfect, Watson. We can begin our experiment.
Ich bin verwirrt. Ich dachte, ich brauche Dünger. Ich dachte, mir fehlt noch Dünger. Dafür brauche ich echt ziemlich lange gerade.
I imagine that one of these plants would be capable of releasing a toxic vapor. I need to find out exactly how it could be done. I shall begin now. Watson, if you are at all optimistic to have dinner this evening, then I'd recommend that you put on the gas mask. A carnivorous plant. This is a strange and unusual plant. A prickly plant.
Okay, jetzt bin ich gerade ein bisschen überfordert.
It appears to open after being soaked with alkaloid. This plant becomes inactive after being drenched with alkaloid. This plant becomes inactive after being drenched with alkaloid. It closed again. I believe I saw a small cloud of gas. I wonder what secrets this plant is hiding. Perhaps if we agitate it to a greater extent whilst it is opened, it will reveal a little more. It appears to open after being soaked with alkaloid. No reaction. It closed again. I believe I saw. I wonder what secrets this plant is hiding. Perhaps if we agitate it to a greater extent, whilst it is... It appears to open after being soaked without... This plant seems to have had no reaction from the caterpillars. This plant becomes inactive after being drenched with alkaloid.
Hä?
It appears to have fallen. It closed again. I believe I saw a small... I wonder what secrets this plant is hiding. Perhaps...
Noch stärker zusetzen, während sie offen ist.
It appears to open after... It closed again. I wonder what's...
Zum Glück habe ich genug davon.
It appears... No reaction. My word. It shot a spike at me after I stabbed it with a pin. I imagined that its reaction would be ferocious if I increased the strength of my attack. My word. My.
I'm totally confused wieder.
How interesting. What a strong and effective defensive mechanism. I am interested in what might occur if the prickly plant should shoot at it. This plant... It closed... I wonder what I am in... It appears to open after being soaked without... It appears to have fallen inactive after being disturbed.
Ich bin verwirrt. Ich check nicht gerade, was ich mache.
This is a strange and unusual... This plant seems to have had no reaction from the... Toxic gas.
Oh, jeez.
Extraordinary.
Ich hatte eine Nadel gehabt und der hat 1000
Plants
Nadeln
would be
gemacht.
capable of killing only if they were directly next to the victim and stimulated at precisely the right moment.
Let us take our caterpillars to the Colonial Collection Room. We may see things more clearly there.
It is too early, Watson. Our suspects will be there. Let us investigate Kew Gardens one more time and ask some questions.
Puh. Die göttliche Gesellschaft ließ die tödlichen Pflanzen in Kew Gardens, um mit ihnen Mordgierde zu einem späteren Zeitpunkt. Jemand stahl die tödlichen Pflanzen, bevor die göttliche Gesellschaft dies tun konnte. Ach so, nee, aber... Okay, reden wir nochmal mit allen.
Can you tell me if you saw Mr. Montague Dunn on the day of his death?
Yes, of course. I met him, and we went to see Albert, his son, at around 9:30. He appeared quite calm.
What were you doing on the morning of the accident?
After paying multiple visits to Albert, I had a little talk with Miss White. Then I returned to my desk to complete some paperwork. Suddenly I observed that Mr. Dunn was not feeling well, so I ran immediately to fetch Albert. I clearly remember that it was around 10:30, for I was late that morning.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
Ich stehe übelst auf Schloch einfach.
Your father's death does seem highly suspicious. What were your movements here on that day?
Suspicious. Well, I was working in the seed house, taking care of Lysa something, or Lear Pontus, or... No, wait. Ah, these Latin names. I spent so many hours trying to memorize them.
Did you see your father that day?
Yes. He came here with Mr. Hamish for his weekly visit. There was nothing unusual about that.
And then?
Nothing. They stepped out to the backyard. It was perhaps 20 minutes before 10 o'clock. Then about 10 minutes later, I saw my father heading for the dry tropics room while Mr. Hamish returned here.
And Mr. Hamish and Miss White? What were they both doing that morning?
Mr. Hamish visited me a couple of times. I also saw him returning from talking with Miss White, and that was at 10 minutes past 10. But then he ran back here to me to tell me that my father was feeling unwell. We hurried across to the water lily room, and I found my father lying dead on the floor. Oh my God.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Dass ich immer den falschen Weg hier laufe, ne? Ich habe noch so vieles, was ich nicht gemacht habe, ne?
Can you tell me what Mr. Dunn was doing upon the day of his death?
I can. But there is nothing very special to say. I was in the laboratory when I saw Mr. Dunn heading towards me. Tuesday is the day of his weekly visit. It was supposed to be at 9, but he was 10 minutes late, as usual.
And then?
Well...
Ich komme auch gerade nicht mit. Eigentlich müsste ich eine Tafel hinter mir haben und einen Zeitstrahl machen und das von allen Seiten vergleichen.
After that, he ran out in the direction of the nursery, where Mr. Hamish was working. He was always in a rush during the inspection, you see. I would pity anyone who stood in his way.
And that was the last time you saw him?
Yes. I stayed in the laboratory until 20 minutes to 11, when I heard the cries of Albert and Mr. Hamish from the large glass house.
I joined them as soon as I could, for I knew that something must be very wrong.
What exactly were you doing in the laboratory?
I was recording an experiment for my thesis. I only stopped my work once when Mr. Hamish visited me briefly around 10 o'clock.
You say you were recording an experiment when the tragedy occurred. Might I listen to the roll?
Certainly. Please do. You will find it in the laboratory. It is number 320.
Thank you, miss.
Ist das das, was ich mir
Everyone
schon...
has gone, Holmes. The way is clear.
Okay.
When Montague Dunn was standing close by the plants, the caterpillars were released and caused the deadly spores to activate. Panicking, and likely already half asphyxiated, Montague Dunn started back and knocked over the bust. He rushed to the door, but it was locked. He had to force it open with his shoulder. We already know the outcome. Montague Dunn collapsed and died not far from the pool. Well, it is time to perform our experiment on the ventilation system.
Danke.
The caterpillars could only fall from the ventilation duct. Our caterpillars are in place. I'll activate the ventilation system so that they fall down. Watson, stay here and observe.
All right, Holmes.
Ich laufe schon wieder in die falsche Richtung, kann das sein?
Before starting the engine, the power is on. The engine has started. The ventilation system is working. Excellent. This ventilation fan is working. Let us see if I can activate the other one.
Achso, ich muss erst aktivieren, hat er gesagt, ne?
From here, we are unable to see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room. Perfect. Now I just need to find Watson to check the result.
It works perfectly, Holmes. Bravo. Now, if you could just help me to get rid of these caterpillars.
Perfect. Now we know how the murder of Montague Dunn was carried out, by activating both Albert's and Mr. Hamish's fans.
But only from Mr. Hamish's workplace would it be possible to see when Montague Dunn entered the Colonial Collection Room.
Und da wäre nur Miss White. Martin Hamish hatte die Gelegenheit, die tödliche Pflanze im Keuhaus zu simulieren. Als Biologe hätte er genau gewusst, was zu bewerkstelligen ist. Hamish ist schuldig. Martin Hamish könnte der Täter sein. Er hatte die Gelegenheit, die Pflanzen der göttlichen Gesellschaft zu stehlen und sie vor dem Arbeitsplatz zu stimulieren, und nach dem Motiv ausgewiesen ist. Sorgen Sie dafür, dass Martin Hamish verhaftet wird.
Let's go to Scotland Yard.
Okay, das soll ich sogar wirklich machen. Botanik gehört nicht zu den Stärken von Albert Dunn. Dementsprechend unwahrscheinlich ist es, dass er wusste, wie eine Pflanze zum Verschießen ihrer tödlichen Sporen gebracht werden konnte. Albert Dunn hat das biologische Wissen, wie man tödlichen Pflanzen... Dem war das alles scheißegal. Was haben wir hier? White ist unerfahren. Das botanische Wissen, das sich Miss White an der Universität angeeignet hat, reicht womöglich nicht aus, um die korrekte Reaktion mit tödlichen Pflanzen. Miss White hat das biologische Wissen, die man mit tödlichen Pflanzen simulieren kann. Nicht? Das war Hamish' Arbeitsplatz. Also er hätte das machen können, das ist wohl korrekt.
I must admit, it would be rather unusual to use a poisonous plant as a murder weapon.
Ist der jetzt schon hier?
Locked.
Hä, ich check grad nicht. Also ich soll jetzt tatsächlich dafür sorgen, dass Hamish... Kontaktieren Sie Lestrade, um Martin Hamish verhaften zu lassen.
Locked.
Hoch. Hey, der stand doch gerade am Eingang, Mann.
Inspector, I believe that Martin Hamish is guilty of the murder of Montague Dunn.
Aha! I knew it. I'll send a letter out to arrest him.
Very good. I shall wait to hear from you.
Hamish und die Gottesanbeterinnen waren das, oder was?
Inspector, I came here as quickly as I could.
Martin Hamish is in the large glass house. There's no need to hurry.
Holmes, my God!
Yes, we found him like that.
Our messing around with the ventilation system didn't go unnoticed. Mr. Hamish realized that we knew.
Inspector, could you arrange the body, please? I should like to examine it.
Ist die jetzt hier runtergelassen worden? Nee, natürlich nicht. Also, da.
The mark around the neck is very visible. He died instantly.
Holmes, his left shoe is unique. This anomaly is often a characteristic of...
A club foot. Bravo, Watson. That is the key element of this case.
Mein Leben ist mittlerweile die Hölle. Es ist nicht zu ertragen. Dann hat er es verdient zu sterben, aber ich kann es mir nicht verzeihen, dass sein Blut an meinen Händen klebt. Wir von der Familie Hamish sind immer Opfer unserer Umstände geworden. Und ich selbst bilde da keine Ausnahme. Ich muss für meine Sünden büßen und das werde ich jetzt tun. Lebt wohl. Never im Leben ist das doch nicht so passiert jetzt alles, oder? Martin Hamish konnte aufgrund der Tibiatorsion an seinem Klumpfuß nicht rennen. Von daher sollten wir herausfinden, ob er genug Zeit gehabt hätte, die Tür zum Kolonialhaus abzuschließen und das Belüftungssystem zu aktivieren. Hatte er vielleicht einen Komplizen? Unterhalten Sie sich mit Lestrade über die neuen Hinweise, die Sie an Martin Hamish leichter entdeckt haben.
Something about this rings very oddly.
Why do you say that, Mr. Holmes?
Why? Because of Mr. Hamish's club foot. Oh, I deserve to be kicked from here to Charing Cross. I should have noticed it.
But, Mr. Holmes, I can't see why.
No, I don't suppose you do. You must recall that Mr. Dunn was locked inside the Colonial Collection Room by the murderer. If it was Mr. Hamish, he would have had to run up to his workplace to trigger the fan situated above it, taking into consideration the condition of his foot.
Well, it is still possible.
Perhaps, but it is rather strange that such a person as Mr. Hamish decided to base his plan on the speed of his gait.
You mean to say that somebody helped him?
So the suicide is questionable?
Correct. Mr. Hamish accuses only himself in his letter, and so the investigation stops.
Possibly an accomplice, then? That idea had not occurred to me, Mr. Holmes.
I have another idea, Inspector. Thanks to the testimony that we have collected, we are able to rebuild the events as they took place that day.
With a timeline, such as we did in the Jack the Ripper case.
Precisely.
Yep,
The
Jack
map
the
at
Ripper
the entrance
case.
of Kew Gardens should help us with our timeline.
Let us analyze the facts and statements, so that we may recreate the events of that morning.
Oh, das kriege ich doch alles nicht mehr hin. Albert trifft Montague und Mary Hamish im Saathaus. Montague, Dune und Hamish gehen in den Hinterhof. Ach du Scheiße. Um circa 20 vor 10, also Martin Hamish und Montague Dunn trafen sich gegen 9:30 mit Albert im St. Irgendwas. 9:30. Was ist das denn hier? Albert Dunn? Albert Montague Dunn und Martin Hamish im Saathaus. Ist grün. S zur Karte. Um circa 20 vor 10 gingen Hamish und Montague in den Hinterhof. 20 vor 10 gingen die irgendwo hin. Nach 10 Minuten setzte Dunn eine Inspektion fort und betrat das Wüstenhaus. Äh, Hamish ging zurück ins Rathaus. Ich weiß nicht, was das Rathaus ist. Seed House. Hier ist das Rathaus. Ach so, und das ist dann er. Nee, Seed House ist er. Hä? Ach so. Martin Hamish hatte um 10 Uhr eine Unterredung mit Miss White. Hamish und White. Miss White hielt sich bis 10:40 Uhr im Labor auf, als sie dann schließlich Hamish und Albert im Seerosenhaus sah und sich zu ihnen gesellte. Hamish lief sofort zu Albert, als er sah, dass Montague nicht gut ging. Das war 10:30. Albert hielt sich den ganzen Morgen im Saathaus auf. Um 10 nach 10. Passt überhaupt nicht, oder? Ich habe keine Ahnung.
Let us summarize. Montague Dunn was poisoned inside the Colonial Collection Room. He forced open the door, which means that someone locked him inside there at 10:20. Martin Hamish was last seen at 10:10. This means that he has approximately 10 minutes to lock the door of the Colonial Collection Room. Given that he was club-footed, it is doubtful. Albert also has 10 minutes to lock the door of the Colonial Collection Room, which is quite enough time. Miss White was last seen at 10 o'clock, which means that she had approximately 20 minutes to lock the door. More than enough time. Perfect, Watson. Now, let us ascertain who assisted Martin Hamish in killing Montague Dunn.
Ja, die Frau, ist ja ganz klar. Ich sag, es war die Frau.
Let us summarize. Montague Dunn was poisoned inside the Colonial Collection Room. He forced open the door, which means that someone locked him inside there at 10:20. Martin Hamish was last seen at Albert. Perfect, Watson. Now, let us ascertain who assisted.
White ist eine Komplizin. Ja. Margaret White und Marion Hamish kompliziert bei dem Mord an Montague, ihre Bruder, Mission, bla 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 bla. Miss White ist eine gefährliche Frau, die einen raffinierten Mord zu verüben in der Lage ist. Sie flirtete mit Dunes Sohn Albert und trieb später Martin Hamish in Selbstmord. Sie verdiente Tod am Galgen. Miss White ist eine verzweifelte Frau, die sich mit reichen Männern einlassen muss. Als Dune sie fallen ließ, beginnt sie aus Verzweiflung den Mord. Martin hat versucht, sie zu schützen und verdient eine zweite Chance. Hamish handelte allein. Lestrade erfolgte. Martin Hamish hat Montague Dune ermordet, weil dieser ihm seinen Vater das Leben ruiniert hatte. Dafür rächte sich fürchterlich. Lassen Sie die Polizei den Fall abschließen und die Lorbeeren einkassieren. Martin Hamish hat Montague Dune aus Rache für seinen Vater ermordet, um so die Leitung der Gärten zu übernehmen. So erpicht er auf... Oh. Alter. Ich sag, die Frau war es wegen den ganzen Dingens da. Ich stehe übelst auf den Schlauch, Alter. So richtig hart. Oder was? Das war die Sekte, weil der eine Typ aus diese verbrannte Hand hatte.
But Holmes, how can you be certain that we'll find Miss White here?
It is obvious, Watson. Just use your brain.
I am using it. I do use it.
Now that the rope has tightened around Martin Hamish, Miss White must act to erase all traces of her implication. After the suicide of her accomplice, there is one final trace remaining. The deadly plants of the Divine Syndicate. She will be there.
Very good. Shall we go?
Just one moment. Now listen to me, Watson. I shall see her alone. You will conceal yourself behind her, quietly.
Whatever are you planning?
Nothing spectacular. The impulses of women have always been a mystery to me. But she is a bold one, and so we must be cautious.
All right. You can count on me, Holmes.
Mr. Holmes, good day to you.
You do not seem surprised, Miss White.
Well, I was expecting you.
Not for too long, I believe. So please tell me, as it is still unclear, who planned the murder? Was it you?
You were wrong, Mr. Holmes.
It was Martin Hamish, then. You managed to convince him to take on a more prominent role.
You could not be further from the truth.
You think that you can fool me?
You don't care what I think.
It is difficult to care about someone who is capable of pushing a man to his suicide. It is over, Miss White. The police will be here any minute.
Over, perhaps. One moment you were here, and the next, you were on the other side.
The other side? No! Stop!
Scheiße, sie war's doch nicht, oder was? What?
I beg you not to do this, Miss White.
Don't come any closer.
Please remain calm. We can help you.
Not one step further. Don't try to stop me.
Stop this foolishness. You cannot truly want to die.
No, it's too late.
Ah! Was? Nein! Was hätte ich tun sollen? Ich hab doch gedrückt.
This is tragic, Holmes.
Are you able to do anything?
I'm afraid not. The poison has been fulgurating. Her heart stopped instantly, poor child.
Das war richtig! Alter!
Jungle.